okay. Don't keep it clean.
It's not me got to remember those, it's her.
Is it? Alright. So, we did the Snowdon in watercolour last week, so this is the Lake District in acrylic. So it's a similar sort of picture. So we've got the sky, we've got the mountains in the distance, all sort of sweeping down, and then the rocks in the foreground. So we need to put our acrylic paint out. You don't need loads, because obviously acrylic, once it's on your palette, dries up, you can't use it again. So we want a blue, so a primary blue, cerulean blue, cobalt, ultramarine, anything like that you've got. And we just need, even that might be a little bit too big, so about a double P size. We need obviously we need white, so with acrylics, rather than using water, we use white to lighten stuff. I haven't got any black on there. We will need some black as well, which I have got out.
Which yellow have you got?
So yellow, so cadmium yellow, lemon yellow. Primary yellow. Then we want a bit of crimson or magenta. Crimson or magenta.
Is rose okay? Rose?
As long as it's not too, that should be okay. So we are using a 1/2 inch flat nylon, 1/2 inch flat nylon. And we will use a rigger brush later on. A rigger. A rigger is your longer hair brush. If you haven't got a rigger, we'll just use a smaller one. And
That is the artist, what I was black. I was just trying to see if you've got different.
yeah,
This is like pearl.
yeah, about 1/2 inch.
Have you got to pick up? Yeah.
Oh yes, I see what you mean. Yes, it is. Yeah.
No?
If you haven't got a rigger, don't worry. You can just use a small one. I'm going to put some black out as well. So we've got a blue, cobalt, cerulean, primary blue. We've got a alizarin crimson or a magenta. So the same sort of colours as we used last week. We've got a yellow, a lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, anything like that. Some white, titanium white, and then some black. So those are the colours, and we're using the other colour that we'll use a bit later on is burnt umber. So same colours as we used last week, but we're using obviously acrylics. So this is the scene. So again, we've got quite this nice rocky mountain outcrop in the distance, and then we're going to attempt to get some blues and pinks into the sky. So what we need to do first of all, just like we did last week, is to just draw in that rocky distance. So it's about 1/3 of the way down. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly like it is. We haven't got any really high mountains. And then we've got, again, these sort of come down into the valley, and then we've got our rocks not going to add any water to our acrylics, only when we need to wash our brush, and we don't really need to wash it very often. Can you see that? I've got the blind down. Could you pull the blind down, please, David? I've done it in a slightly darker. See that?
Oh, that's it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Okay. So we've got our pink
Use it.
and our blue, and we're going to add some white. So I'm not going to mix on the palette, I'm just going to mix on the paper. So you're working on acrylic paper, we don't need to tilt it up unless you feel happier, but we're not relying on water. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to damp my brush and then dry it off on the paper tissue. We're not wetting anything beforehand, we're using a dry, just slightly damp brush. And I'm going to start off with my red or my crimson and just put some of that using sort of curved sweeping horizontal strokes across the paper where the pink is. Just pick up a bit on your brush and just sweep it across. Don't wash your brush or anything. Then we'll go to the blue and we'll do similar slightly curved strokes with the blue. Then I'm just going to wipe my brush a little bit, pick up some white and then blend that in on the paper. We want to come down to the edge of the mountain, so if it's more of a orangey red or bright red, it doesn't really matter because we get lots of different sky colours. So just work your paint into that texture, just going to my edge of the hills, putting that in, and then just using this slightly curved brush stroke.
I don't have any judge up, but bright red.
Yeah, that's alright, because you're doing the other picture, aren't you?
Yeah.
So use the same colours as we used last week in the watercolours. So if you're running out of your pink in your picture, just go in, pick up a bit more and just blend it in. Each time it's going to be a little bit different. But what we want to do, we can see the texture of the paper coming through. We don't want that. We want to cover that up. So go in a bit thicker. Sometimes a little bit of water on the end of your brush will just help to. But we want to keep it nice and streaky. So just use your white, your pink and your blue, and just get this idea of this nice evening sky. A little bit of water sometimes, just if you're not getting it into those textures of the watercolour paper, but we don't want to see any of those, so that's why we're using the paint a bit thicker. And if it's all getting a little bit worked in too much, we can just go in again with some colour on top. Just blend that in to get rid of that white, just scrubbing a little bit, forcing the paint into those textures, and then after a little bit of white just in that, particularly in the middle section. Every time you do it, it's going to be a bit different. If you think you don't quite like that, I'll do a bit more of that. I'll make it a bit more pinky, a bit more bluey. It's your sky, so nice thick paint to drying quickly, so you should be able to work the colours on top of each other quite easily. So don't add any water to your paint, Deborah, because it's not looking thick enough at the moment. So just keep it nice and thick on there. Mind it doesn't get too browny. There, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't forget to use your white as well. So blend it in. Make sure that you cover the paper so we don't have any of those textures coming through. Push into the water there.
I do, but then it comes back. It's only your own bit.
I'm finding it really hard. Mine blue, it's far too blue.
Bit more.
Alright, so you're going for, what sort of sky are you going for, David? You're not doing the same as the one.
No, I'm going to go for like a.
You're not doing the same
The
as
good
last
thing is
week.
it's
Yeah, I'm
really
gonna go
dry
for
and then you'll be able to go
Some
over
white
it. Yeah,
sunset.
yeah,
Okay. Right, okay, so that's quite dark.
Panic not.
So you need to get some more light
Yeah.
white into that.
I'm forgetting to wash my brush.
It's all going a bit dark. Showing a bit of light on the top.
There's the white.
Blend it in. So we want sort of the ready colours coming through.
Forget what to do. Is that okay?
It's a bit thin. Yeah. Perhaps you go a little bit stronger with your pinks, I think. A little bit stronger with your blues. So
Losing the edge.
that's all right now. So it's got a nice bit of movement to it. Thing is about your sky, again, if you just come back to it.
As the paint starts lifting off.
Yeah, it's slightly sort of curved.
Yeah. Yes.
That's it, right. Blend that in a bit with your brush. So if you sort of use that sort of curve,
Yeah, not rather than just water and put it
Yeah.
with a tissue.
then just sort of, you know, always use it at the sides.
Okay, thank
Get yours a little bit curved as well. That's quite a lot of blue in there. So have you added any white?
I did to make the pink.
Right. Okay, so you just got a lot of water on your brush. So, right, I'll just go straight into your white and just go over the top to get some slightly sort of curved. Should get blue paint all over me. It's acrylics. What do you expect? So don't get it, just sort of blend it in a bit darker, so that goes. So sort of like blending it.
Oh, like that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing a curvy
It's sort of
thing.
slightly curved, and then you can perhaps put a bit of your red and just mix that in a bit. So sort of working on the surface of it. And then probably a little white here just
You're welcome.
you've got lots of
Yeah, I've got a few different ones.
Yeah. Yeah, keep them out. So a nice thick layer of paint so we don't see the texture of the paper, or hardly. A few little bits there, we can always touch those up. Yeah, the beauty about acrylics is that you can always come back to it. So we need to, as I say, we need to add a little bit of white into it, but it's sort of blended in, so it's not a bright white. We've got touches of white coming through. That looks all right. Yeah, don't forget we're going to be standing back from it, so a little bit more white in, Deborah, I think. Just get some on your So it sort of mixes in a little bit, but not totally. So that's the right white streaks. That's looking better now, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
brown.
How are we doing with the sky? Nearly there? Yeah, that looks fine. So, because I'm looking back from a distance, so it does help.
You find your eyes are brighter now that you've adjusted.
The left-hand one for the near side hasn't quite settled down properly. This one's fine.
Things are brighter.
No, I haven't got a cataract or anything. So, yeah, so it's still settling down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put those blue mountains in, and then a bit of black on the top. So we're going to use the same blue. Wash your brush, just dry it off on your tissue. So I'm going to pick up the blue, and remember we used the direction of the land with the brush strokes last week. So we're going to do the same. We're going to put in a good solid blue, particularly at the top. If you need to change the shape of your mountain a bit, you can do. So a good solid, nice thick layer of blue, and again use those brush strokes and sort of brush the paint out as you come down into the valley. Yeah, so the blue that you used in your sky. So get your shape of your mountains back in. You might have lost them a little bit with you doing your sky. And then just bring it down, fading the brush out as you come to your valley floor. So I'm not adding any water. So as we come down into the valley, it's like a dry brush, so it's all fading out. Then pick up your black, don't bother to wash your brush, pick up your black, and you can see along the tops of the mountains we've got this black edge. So with your flat brush, put it in, and then just pull it down. Mixing a little bit with the blue, but not much. So put black along the top, so it can be a little bit irregular. And then pull it down. Shape of the mountains. And while you've still got your black out, we can just put some shapes of where these rocks are. Again, just sort of dab in with the black paint onto here, where we've got these rocks in the foreground. So just pull with the wet brush, so So you've got your yellow and green on top.
Yeah, but
Where
like
we
this
did
is
it.
green.
Well, you've not got any green. We can mix it, blue and yellow. You could just go in with
No,
yellow
no,
and
mix it
get
yellow.
blue on top. You've not got any yellow.
No, that's good.
We've got yellow here. You want some yellow?
Be right. Thank you.
That's fine.
Painted her blue. Yeah, sort of just
So just like we did last week, we put the yellow on
Yeah.
and then mix up well, take a darker blue, darkish blue, not too bright, and then sweep that on top so that you get those different shades of green.
Well, I've only got the ultramarine.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
What does he put in the blocks, please?
Here,
Yeah.
they're just black.
Oh.
Just black blobs at the moment, just where the rocks are. So I'm now going to take a little bit of that pinky red that we used in the sky, and if you look on the picture, we've got some sort of hints of this pink in the mountains as it sort of comes down to the valley. So again, I'm just going to a little bit of brush, a little bit of paint on my brush,
sure.
and then just add a little bit of that. So again, it will mix with the blue, and it will just give a little bit of a sort of purple tinge. Not too much. Again, sort of quite dry brushing. The dry brushing is, the paint is just on a dry brush and not too much of it. If you only want to put like a broken line in.
What you just put in? Is that still pink?
So that's the pink that we used in the sky. No water, just a little bit on your brush, you don't want much. And we're just sort of sweeping it across some of these mountains, not all over, but just a few little brush strokes. To show that the mountains are reflecting the sky. So we're keeping the colours pretty much the same as last week. We're just using, again, just the one brush. Obviously, if you're working much larger, you use a larger brush. But for this A4-ish size, this sort of ½ inch is fine. How are we doing with that? Okay? Yeah? Yeah. So now we're going to add some green into the sort of valley floor. So what we're going to add, we've got quite a bit of green on the rocks actually. So we're going to add that. So I'm going to take some yellow and add a little bit of black to it, and that'll make us a nice sort of dirty sappish green, as you can see there, which is good for mixing greens, black and yellow. So we're going to add some green to the floor here, the valley floor.
Did you say black or yellow?
Black and yellow. Yellow with a little bit of your black makes a nice dark green. So it does. This too strong, so what I'm going to do now, I've put that on there, I'm just going to wash my brush out, dry it off a little bit, and just sort of blend that in, because I don't want it too strong. I'm just using a little bit of water. I've already got the paint there, a little bit of water to just like blend it in and take it into those mountains. A little bit of water, not loads, to just help to blend that paint in, thin it down a little bit, get it into those areas of the mountain that there's still a bit of white in. So yellow and black, it's good. It's a good way of creating a more natural green than the quite bright yellow and the brightish blue that we've got. I sweep it up into the mountains, but then as we get to sort of like the valley floor, try and use more horizontal strokes. In as well, just a touch, just to lighten it. Just to lighten it up here, again using the same direction that we created the mountains in, but just a little bit of white just to lighten things up a touch. If you look at the picture, there's a little bit of lightness coming in here. Again, very much dry brushing, only a little bit of paint on, we don't want a great big blob of white on our mountains, not unless they're snow covered. Bit of a line, we can always just wash the brush and just sort of almost lift out a little bit if we've got a bit too high. Before it dries too much, we can just mess about with it a little bit. Lighter areas in the blue of this mountain, so just go over with a very dry brush of lightness. So you do look at your picture. You might interpret it a little bit different. So just adding this, that's a bit too much paint there I picked up. Somebody's popular. Is that your door or is it somebody's door? Just getting messages. So we've got a few different sort of shades of green, and then I've just lightened it a little bit with dry brushing some white on the top. Dry brushing a little bit of white into the mountains, the blue of the mountains, where we've got some little almost highlights. Do a bit of green down here as well. You don't use a whole load of paint, do you? You tend to think acrylics that you actually need to put loads of paint out on the palette, but dirty green there. We've also got quite a lot of green in our rocks, so you can use your blue and green, as blue and yellow as well, to mix a green if you want, or you might want to use a bit of yellow, blue and a bit of black. So I'm just adding some, again, pick up a bit of yellow and your black. You'll get these slightly different variations of green, because it is quite bright, like last week's. Quite a lot of green, bright green showing these sort of mossy areas. Using the paint very dry, and I'm just sort of almost like dabbing it, so I'm picking up yellow, but I've already got a bit of green and black on my paintbrush, so it's coming out this quite bright green. How are we doing? That was sounded like a big sigh from
It was. Hot. I'm hot.
yeah, hot.
So misty.
Just add a few sort of mixes of.
Have you ever heard of William Heaton Cooper, the landscape artist of the Lake District?
It sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you what he'd done.
He's got a big gallery in there.
Oh, right,
There's three
yeah.
generations of the family,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
have painted there. And his landscapes are, I think they're probably watercolour
Watercolours,
actually.
yeah.
They're huge as well. And they're just
Yeah.
mind-blowing. No one trying to make you realise how
Yeah,
good
well.
he is. He's dead now, but I think it's his son, his grandson still.
Right, really. So passed it on.
His daughter runs the shop. the gallery.
Oh, so yeah, it's nice. It's all in the family,
It
isn't it?
is still.
So let's not put our expectations
I was
too
going to say,
high.
I'm just looking, thinking, how does he do that? Oh wow.
So what I'm going to do here, I'm just mixing up slightly darker green. Again, just the edge of the paintbrush, and you can see we've got some suggestions of like edges of fields or walls or trees. So nothing too definite, but we'll just put some sort of like lines or broken lines onto that valley. You can't really see what's happening on there, so we're just putting a suggestion of there's some hedges or rock Awesome.